Hi, my name is Jody Weisel. We're here to honor Mitch Payton with the Edison Lifetime Achievement Award. But what I'd really like to say is that it really is the Tom White Lifetime Achievement Award. Tom invented the idea, got the people to come to it, funded it with his private funds. He owned the White brothers, was in the AMA Hall of Fame. This award is really a testament to his hard work and his dedication to the sport. One of the highlights for me about coming to Glen Helen is the Walk of Fame. Down these rows are marble plaques that honor lots of great people in the sport of motocross. And if anyone deserves to be here, it's Mitch Payton. I met Mitch in 1979 at Saddleback Park. Off on the side of the track, I heard something that sounded like a bomb going off. There was Mitch Payton and a racer named Craig Dale and a blown-up Husky 125. And it turns out that Mitch had decided he was going to make the world's fastest 125 Husky. He just kept porting it and stuffing the crank until it got fast. It just had a really short fuse. But I was impressed that he was willing to try, and so I told him I'd come by his shop, which turned out to be in the leftover dry cleaning building in Anaheim, populated by a cast of zany characters who hung out there full-time all the time. Some became famous mechanics and some became famous racers.
It was 1981 at the Mickey Thompson Riverside Off-Road Race. Brought my factory Yamaha motocross bike, thinking, oh, this is gonna be a cakewalk. Leading the 500 championship, I'm thinking I'm all cocky. Little do I know they're gonna have a 75, 80 mile an hour plus straightaway there. Some guy named Jeff Jennings, who I knew well from the local circuit, showed up on a Husqvarna motorcycle. I got a factory Yamaha OW, this guy's on a Husqvarna, it's gonna be no problem. Unfortunately, he was on a Mitch Payton tuned Husqvarna and got kind of lucky and won the race, but just barely beat Jeff, and I soon knew who Mitch Payton was in pro circuit. And
early 80s, when I was a factory Yamaha rider, my last ride was gonna be on a Jim Castillo prepared bike. Talked to Mitch about building it the way I wanted to do it with the suspension, and so we created a relationship.
I wanted to be at pro circuit, and I want to be a pro circuit rider. Very nerve-wracking the first time I got to meet Mitch.
He was at the top and winning the titles, so that's who you wanted to ride for. So definitely for a 17-year-old kid, it was pretty intimidating at the time.
The end of 2009, I was an amateur, managed to get in his office. I can't remember how, and I just remember I was young, I was like 17, and I was just sweating in there, and I was so nervous, I didn't want to be in there, but yeah, I remember he just had his big gulp cup, and he would just stare at me and not really say a whole lot, and just really made me sweat even more. So
actually, way back in 1998, going into the 99 season, I got to come to the US and do some off-season races and then race Anaheim and San Diego. So we got pipes, cylinders, heads, kind of like that surreal feeling. Like you see PC and you hear about Mitch Payton, but when you actually physically see the man, grinding away on race engines, and it was it was really cool.
I mean, I was 16 years old, I think, and had a little deal from Pro Circuit, and then started getting faster and trying to leave Pro Circuit. I was a nobody. My dad, being the respectable guy that he has, made me, understand the things about doing stuff in person like that. And so I had to go down to Mitch's office and, tell him that I was going to quit. I mean, it was probably the most nervous time I've ever been in my whole life. I remember sitting in the office and told Mitch that I was going to stop riding for Pro Circuit. I wasn't getting a bunch of free stuff. I mean, I wasn't even Team Green at the time. Mitch kind of told me, like, hey, who do you think you are, Rick Johnson? Ricky was the man at the time, and I left Mitch's office crying. So I had known Mitch for a long time, but that was the first part of my Pro Circuit relationship. And then one of the cool things about that story is when I left his office, he said that I would never ride for Pro Circuit again. Mitch, I proved you wrong on that one.
Early 80s, I worked around the corner from his La Palma shop, and I would go there every Wednesday to get cycle news. And it was crazy there. They were like loons.
One day I went over to Mitch's shop. He was handing out t-shirts to everyone who worked there. So he hands me a bright yellow t-shirt with red lettering on it, and it said PCP in big letters. And I'm going, Mitch, you can't make a t-shirt that says PCP. And he goes, why not? I go, it's a drug. He goes, but PCP stands for Pro Circuit Products, Pro Circuit USA, Pro Circuit anything, but definitely not PCP. So So I wish I'd kept that PCP t-shirt because it would be worth $1 million today.
Fun. We did a lot of growing up. I mean, there's just stories in Seattle of Lamson and Mitch and having fish fights and all this crazy stuff when we were kids. And
sometimes they'd put snakes in the cooler with fishing string attached to it. So when you open it up, it'd kind of jump at you. But
my dad played a joke on him. Story was, so the rig was on the way to like an East Coast Supercross event, and so we got the truck driver in on it, which was Greg at the time. The rig was destroyed, like it got in a crash and everything was totaled, and Mitch was renting U-Haul trucks and stuff already. We got everybody in on it. We got guys like highway patrol officers, like fake highway patrol officers calling Mitch and all this stuff. And
Mitch and all of his bets that he had with people, and Goat having to go get a job at McDonald's if he didn't win this week, or Goat having to sleep in a tree house for a week if he didn't make good on his results and whatnot. But
we were eating healthy back then, so I think we went to a Sizzler where they had a salad bar. Mitch was really giving us all a hard time, so I think we all just looked at each other and said, kind of enough with this. Picked him up and we popped the trunk of a rental car and we stuck Mitch in his wheelchair in the rental car, and we decided the smart thing to do is to drive him back to the hotel in the trunk of the car. He thought we were just kind of kidding until we started driving down the road, and the looks on the people's faces in the other cars.
Randomly had some t-shirts drying in the garage on a clothes rack, and someone came in my garage and stole my t-shirts. A couple days later, I get a call from a blocked number, and it's some dude like in a weird voice, I don't know who it is. He's like, I have your t-shirts, leave $200 under your doormat and I'll bring them back. And I'm like, what? Like the t-shirts aren't even worth 200 bucks. And the dude keeps, you gonna leave the 200 bucks? He keeps going, and then eventually I'm like, oh my, it's Mitch. You're an idiot.
We started joking about, I bet I could hit you with this shock bump rubber, which if you've ever felt them, they're pretty solid. We had to put safety goggles on, close our mouths so we didn't knock our teeth out, and we could throw it at each other's face. Mitch, I put my hands down, Mitch throws it, real lobs it, smack, hits me in the face. So I got a donut on my face. I take it and I throw it as hard as I can, and I just miss his head. He takes another one, bam, hits me right on the forehead. So I throw it again, I throw it as hard as I can. So I missed 3 out of 3, and I looked like ringworm. I had shock rubber dots all over my face. Still to this day, you gotta watch yourself around Mitch.
So there was a bunch of us sleeping in the van. The next morning he was giggling about something, and I, as usual, him and Troy or Mike were giggling. They came up with a new nickname for me. Well, it was Mr. Bubbles, because Mitch said that when he was sleeping, all he could see was everyone laying flat, but he just saw this big hump about halfway down. That was my butt. I said, no way, I'm never ever, that's not gonna be my name. Well, the next week at the race, when I got my clothes, it had Mr. Bubbles on the back. And I didn't have any other clothes, so I had to wear it.
You know, one that really stands out in my mind that I'm still pissed off at him about was when I was still a racer, and it was Anaheim Stadium, and I think I hole shot the main event. And I think I got some really bad arm pump, and I faded to about 8th or 9th. And so when I came in after the race, Mitch had all of his guys pin me down, they pulled my pants down and wrote "Fader" on my butt in Sharpie.
If you really need something from him, or you need it right away or whatever, he'll tell you something that it's $80,000 and it's gonna take 18 weeks. So something just completely crazy, and at first you're kind of like, you respect him and you're kind of like, it seems a little unreasonable, but maybe it's true, but yeah, now you don't even buy into it.
When I first started riding for his team, me and David Pingree were coming back from the test track, and I can tell you right now, he's got this little smile on his face. We pull into the shop, he's like, where'd you guys go for lunch? And they're like, oh, we went to Lucky Greek. He's like, oh yeah? He's like, really, what'd you get? I'm like, man, grilled chicken sandwich and that's it, and an iced tea. And he's like, really? He's like, let me smell your fingers. And he smelled my fingers, and of course I was busted. We really went to In-N-Out and got fries, double-double, the whole bit. And he's like, dude, that's fries on your fingers. That isn't no grilled chicken. You went to In-N-Out, didn't you? And I was like, ah, you got me. Busted me, like, dude, right out of the gate.
Kid from Arizona came out, rode a Husky, needed his help at Saddleback. Didn't need to help me, but he did, just because that's the kind of guy he is. Next day I went in to buy some parts from him at his shop. Asked me if I would wear his jersey and gave me a discount on parts, and one of the happiest days of my life.
You have to realize that Honda was the #1 factory at the time. Championships with Johnny O'Mara, Donnie Hansen. When I got to Honda, we went to production bikes. I was used to a Yamaha where we had more of a roll-on power, so I was trying to achieve that. I approached Mitch and said, hey, let's try to make something. I can't guarantee they might take your pipe and go make their own. You achieved this in bikes that I ran in the past. Will you come and do it? Mitch showed up with the van with hacksaws and gas welders. Brian Lunnis and Mitch Payton and I, just the three of us, we got something that was very, very rideable, and I think the best Supercross pipe out there. And that was the year that we did so well. David and I went 1 and 2, but Mitch was willing to try different things. Honda set their pride aside and said, we want to win races. And then that created a relationship with Pro Circuit in the factories.
Personally, even when I had some times when I was injured and I just needed a little bit of help. I remember one time I'd just coming back from a long leg injury, and I just had a couple of stock Yamahas, and he said, I'll work on them for you, and he helped port them, put pipes on them, and did all this work for nothing, and just wanted to help me out. And he has that ability just to or just that desire to help people out, and still to this day is doing it for me, which is funny because I've been racing some vintage stuff and he's still helping me with it. He probably wants me to go away, but
if I worked at Team Green, a newly single mom, and we were having a Supercross that Saturday, and at Team Green we did a hospitality deal, and I had all this stuff to load into my car to bring to the stadium that day, and I walked downstairs from my condo. Someone had put my car up on blocks and stole my wheels. I get myself there through a friend, and so we get through the day, I'm fine, and I'm walking through the pit area, and Mitch rolls up and he holds these keys up. And I'm like, what's that? What do you need me to do? He goes, these are yours. I said, well, what are they? He said, they're the keys to the new wheels on your car. And there was my car that I had left at home hours earlier at my condo in the parking lot with brand new, beautiful 3-spoke aluminum wheels on it. Had someone go into my purse and steal my keys, get the car to the shop, put the wheels on, had new wheels on my car for me. Mitch, as much of a fireball as he can be, he has a heart of gold. Probably one of the most loyal people that I have ever met.
And to this day, Mitch is kind of like another dad to me, whether it was motorcycle racing or just life in general. He was really good to me, and those 2 years I was there was really, really special.
With Mitch, getting guys that are maybe under the radar, people don't want to take a chance on him, and he seems to take a chance, is that when you come in here and you see this facility, and when you come here, we're going to work harder than anyone to give you the best equipment there is, so you better do your job and uphold what we've done over the years. I believe that the riders then, step up their game.
Describe him as caring. I've seen him help more people in more areas. Just goes above and beyond. And there was never a project that I came to Mitch with that he wouldn't take on. No matter what we came to Mitch with, he was always there for us, never turned us down, always gave us the best product he could give us, worked longer and harder than anybody else to do it. So
one thing I really respect about Mitch, and I've always noticed this, dude, it doesn't matter who you are, what you ride, he's always willing to help. He's so good and knowledgeable, especially about jetting a 2-stroke. We saw it at the Red Bull Straight Rhythm. He was helping Ken Roxon, one of the best guys in the business as far as performance comes. That's what I know about Mitch and really respect about him, is he's always willing to help, and it's cool to see a guy just roll his bike up there and he's willing to help.
And that's the thing, is if you come in and happen to see him in the shop or whatever, give you a little bit of time and talk to you and do this and tell you what he thinks. And yeah, I'm on a Yamaha now, and he's working on pistons right now, and he's gonna end up putting one of those in there, and I'll go try it. And so he's just always constantly trying to get better. And
he really respects people that try hard and really put their heart into it, and I think that's why we've kind of got along so well, and he's done so much for me. There were some tough years there where I wasn't really getting a lot of results. I wasn't on the track too much, and I'm pretty conscious of how much money, time, and effort has been put into me ever since amateurs from Mitch and Pro Circuit, and he just always wanted what was best for me and always had my best interest at heart, and that's really tough to find. Normally you can kind of only count on family for that, and Mitch is my family in that sense. I think he genuinely had my best interest at heart always, and still does, and still feel like family with him, even though I'm not riding for the team anymore.
Of course he has the storybook riders, right? I mean, I would look at Pro Circuit sort of like the New England Patriots, but he also has a great knack for being able to pick guys up that are nearly done with their career or have kind of stumbled along the way, and I think there's just something about when you get on Team Pro Circuit that gives you the mental confidence. He builds these guys up, and I know several level like that, if it wasn't for Mitch, their career would have been at least 5 years shorter. You know, my career certainly wouldn't have been the same without him.
The year I won my championship, and then, you know, I had a couple rough years and I'd be in the points lead, then I got hurt and whatever it may have been. It was always, we had a lot of highs and lows, but even to when I didn't even have a ride and I was in the 450 class and I was on my own, he was still willing to help, and that means a lot to me, and it just shows the kind of person he is. He's just a great guy.
You know, Mitch has been in the sport a long time. He's had that race team for a long time. He's got a lot of experience with different riders, and after all that time and experience, you know, I've learned a lot from Mitch over the years too in my dealings with him, and you know, he's a true competitor when it comes to that.
If he can help you, he will. You know, when you compare Villapoto and myself, I've never actually officially rode for Mitch's team, so, but yet he's always my go-to guy. He'll answer your call and tell you what he can and can't do, and yeah, like having somebody that you can rely on, somebody that's going to pick up the phone, and whether it be suspension parts, engine parts, you know, you can rely on the guy to have it show up.
He's not scared to take chances, and I think that does come out when he chooses riders. You know, he will pick up a rider that other guys won't. Sees something in a guy, and maybe he knows that he's that guy that could get it out of him. I feel like that was kind of the case for me. You know, I didn't win before I came here, and I came here and kind of dominated, and he definitely got the best out of me, and he's one of those guys that can do that for sure.
Started as a desert racer in the 100cc trail bike class, which back in the 1970s was a massive class in the desert and really important to win. He got paralyzed. He didn't give up. He bought a little tiny Husqvarna motorcycle shop and turned it into pro circuit racing and turned it into the giant Taj Mahal on the 91 freeway. His teams have won over 250 national motorcycle races and 30 national championships. Mitch is the greatest tuner that ever lived in the sport of motocross.
Mitch is like a natural born racing kind of person, whether he's on a motorcycle or in a car or in his shop at the porting bench. Just epitomizes racing. You know, he had that moniker, or still does, all along, the "we race." It's easy to say something like that, but to actually embody it so wholeheartedly like Mitch does. I mean, it's like pro circuit races. Mitch has ran the best guys in the history of the sport. You know, I can't say how much I respect Mitch and what he's done, and it's just pure motocross and dedicated of anybody I've ever known.
So that's, I think, the biggest thing for Mitch is that he's done so much to help riders. Well, Mitch has helped create a structure to help these guys be great.
Amazing what he's done for the sport of motocross. I mean, he's proven, you know, he was a talented rider. You know, instead of talk about his accident, he went on to, you know, just go, look, I'm focusing forward what I can do and not what I can't do. And he just built the biggest powerhouse team and the most dominant motocross team consistently year after year.
Mitch has definitely elevated the sport for sure. He is always looking how to make things better, be better, do better.
Starting pro circuit out of a garage and now seeing what it is today and the numbers that he's put up, you know, the championships, the wins, everyone knows who Mitch Payton is. And those that were lucky enough to work with him, or I think would all say that. So hard work and passion, just being passionate about what he does, and it shows.
You got to think this guy and his team have went up against the factories forever. He's always built his own products, always would tell me, I want to build the best stuff. People don't see the hard work and dedication that he does. This guy is non-stop. He will not rest until he has the best products.
Setting the standards, trailblazer, showed everybody the way, still shows everybody the way in a lot of areas. I don't think that there's anybody in the paddock today does anywhere near the development that Mitch does today. Everybody strives to beat him.
Just as far as who he is as a person, I feel he's just that guy that wants to win. He's so competitive, and he brings that out of everybody on the team. And he definitely brought that out of me when I was here. I had some of my best years, and you know, he's just awesome what he does. You know, and like I said, I think he just brings out the best of everybody that's around him.
I mean, he's been, as an amateur, and then I was here for 3 years on for the Lights team. He's been a huge influence on my career, and even today. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing currently as a retired rider.
Obviously, he's got all these championships, and you know, I think that's just from the dedication and the willingness to win. You know, I used to ride for him, and the testing days we did was just we're doing whatever we could to make the bike better, to make the rider better, to get the best results we could. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be on PC, and he's made a huge impact on the sport, and definitely I wouldn't be where I am now without him. So
Mitch has been in this business for a long time. I think that he's got a lot of experience, and he's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to that. So I think knowing how to improve things and where to improve things, and been in business for a long time, that shows a lot too. He's got a successful business. That doesn't happen by chance.
Kind of where the core of what we have now really came from what Mitch was putting into it. I mean, back in the days, every factory race team, some shape or form, was getting parts out of there. Even us at Factory Yamaha, we always had PC pipes, and I think still today, he is the benchmark. I think that he's the one that sets the standard.
Ultimately built Pro Circuit into the winningest, race team there is in the sport, and just that alone is just a crazy impact on the sport he's had. And 99% of the kids today that are growing up, this is where they want to be, and I think that says more about Mitch, and he knows how to get it done. So I think it's just his legacy expands far and wide.
The level of performance that he was able to bring to the game forced everyone else to where we are today, especially in the 250 class. I mean, Geico, in my opinion, wouldn't be to the level they are if they weren't trying to chase Mitch. When you have that kind of impact in a sport where it raises the level of everyone's performance, that's pretty strong. And the reason he did that, he was able to do it because he's the best in the business, and he always wants to win and will burn the midnight oil to make that happen.
Every storybook rider that's come through this sport has basically had to come through Mitch, and I'm proud to be one of them for sure. We won 2 titles together, and that's not the end of it. He did work on my bikes throughout the whole time. He would do anything for me, and I would do the same for him. So congrats to you, Mitch, on being a champion, being a legend of this sport, and being someone that this sport could not really do without.
Congratulations on your Edison Die Achievement Award. It couldn't go to a more outstanding human. You've achieved so much in the sport, and to achieve that award is a testament to you, mate.
Mitch, congratulations again on best wishes for all of your future racing seasons.
Mitch Payton, best friend I've ever had in my life, to be honest with you. Over the years, I've always felt like he's had my back no matter what. Got to work with a lot of amazing people and riders through my history with Mitch because of him. Kid from Tucson, Arizona, living a dream for 30-some years. Thank you, Mitch, for everything you've done for me, and congrats on the award.
Mitch, there's nobody we know that loves the sport as much as you love racing dirt bikes. It is truly part of your being. We're incredibly proud of you, because we get to see every day the amount of sacrifice and determination it takes to be the best at what you do. Wonderful things come when you never stop believing and working, and nobody deserves this more than you do. Congratulations.
My dad, Tom White, created this award to honor those who made contributions to the industry. Mitch Payton is the benchmark in motocross racing. He owns the winningest team in motocross history. Congratulations, Mitch Payton, on receiving this award.